And so I would like to share with you a thought that came to me while we were reading the book of Lamentations on Wednesday night and then again Thursday morning, when we recited the Kinos, the book of Lamentations that the prophet Jeremiah had written, in which we find a very interesting passage in which the prophet says the following: Eileh ani Bochiya, upon this do I weep. Eini yerdamoyim, my eye sheds tears. Ki rachok mimeni menachem meshiv nafshi, for the consoler is far away from me, the one who would comfort my soul. And the question that comes to mind is, why is it that the prophet Jeremiah, in speaking about the destruction of the holy temples, speaks about it in a singular term? After all, the destruction of the holy temples, the first and the second, affected the people of Israel in every generation and from time to this present day. Why is it that he speaks about Eileh ani Bochiya, I do weep, and everybody else doesn't weep? Why, only he's the only one who was affected by the destruction of the holy temple? And besides the prophet Jeremiah, the people of Israel themselves, men, women, and children, young and old, were not affected by the destruction of the house of Almighty God. So why is it that the prophet Jeremiah expresses himself in this term? Eileh ani Bochiya, I weep. Eini, my eye, yodamoyim. What about everyone else? But I saw a very interesting interpretation to this in the form of a parable. It is told that there once lived a king who had a very wonderful son. But this wonderful son wasn't overly bright, and he had one terrible weakness, and that was he didn't know the value of money. He didn't know how to conduct themselves when it came to finances. And so the king was very much concerned and very worried, and while he was getting on in years, he felt that if should he die and this tremendous wealth would remain for his son, would be bequeathed unto him, his son would squander the money away in no time. And therefore he was looking for some kind of a plan whereby he would be able to guarantee that that which will remain for his son after his passing on to the abode of eternity would at least be used for the most important purposes and wisely, not to be used or squandered foolishly. And so he called a meeting of his ministers, and the ministers got together and he presented the problem to them. And he told them, you see, my son, he's a very wonderful young man, but the day will come when I will have to leave this world, and I'm going to leave my entire wealth to him. But I'm afraid that he's going to waste it away. It's just going to be taken from him, and there'll be nothing left, and God forbid the whole kingdom will come down. So could you devise a plan for me how I could train my son or prepare him for this occasion, and that when that moment will come, at least I will feel comforted that when I leave this world, I'm leaving whatever I prepared in good hands. And they came up with the following plan. They told him that it would be very wise to build a very gorgeous, beautiful palace. And the palace should have in it the most beautiful and most valuable tapestries and decorations and antiques and paintings and so on and so forth. But besides all of this, there should also be in this building hidden pockets where in the walls where ready cash money would be hidden, and gold and silver. And once this is put together, they will be able to see to it that this young man will be prepared. By the time when the time will come, at least he will begin to understand what the value of money is. And when the king asked for an explanation, they gave him the following. They said, you see, first of all, he has the building in itself. The building, the palace in itself, would be very, very valuable. And should anything happen and they would come after the building, at least you know, first of all, that there was something there that they could take without, God forbid, touching the government. The second thing is, if that wasn't enough, then they would go to take the things that are in the building. Those beautiful decorations and ornaments and valuable tapestries and these antiques that would be in the building. This would be the second valuable item. And by this time, your son will have already realized and understood that he now is ready for bankruptcy and total devastation. And by this time, he should wake up and begin to realize and understand the value of money. And at this point, we will open these various pockets, which we have these hidden spots in the walls where this ready cash will be, and we will be able to take this out, and all this wealth will be given to him. And then he will be able already to understand and know how to handle it and how to deal with it. And therefore he will be secure, and his government will continue to reign, and he will be able to carry on his responsibilities as the ruling king of his dominions. The king thought it was an excellent idea. And the building was put up. It was a fascinating, gorgeous building. The most beautiful building that eyes have ever was set ever upon. And then finally they went and they imported the most valuable, beautiful fixtures and antiques and tapestries and decorations and all this beautiful furniture, and the gold and the silver and everything that made the inside of that building extremely, extremely valuable. And then finally they went and put much, much wealth into the various pockets, these hidden spots in the walls, where they hid the cash and the diamonds and the rubies and the gold and the silver, and to see to it that this money should be secure, so that if and when, God forbid, he would lose the building and lose the inside of the building, at least by then he would be able already to understand the value of the money and be able to take it out and use it. And the building was put together and everything was wonderful, except for one thing. One day, the building burnt to the grounds. And when the building burned to the ground, there were three categories of people who passed by and bemoaned this terrible loss. There was one group who knew the building only from the outside. And when they went by, they said, "Oh, what a gorgeous building. Imagine a building of this sort had to go to the ground, had to be raised to the ground. What a terrible, terrible thing this is. Oh, it's really a shame and a disgrace. What a great pity." But then came a second group. And this second group came and they said, "Well, you only knew the building from the outside. We knew the building from the inside. And we knew how valuable all the decorations and all the furniture and all the tapestries and all the antiques and all the gold and the silver that were in there. We first realized how precious this building was. You only knew it from the inside, but if you would have known it you knew it from the outside. If you would have known it from the inside, you would first realize what a terrible loss there was." And then finally came the king. The king said, "My dear friends, you knew it from the outside. The others knew it from the inside. But the real secret of this building, only I know." And here comes the great prophet Jeremiah, and he says to us, "Al Eileh ni Bochiya." When the holy temples were destroyed, there were those who knew the holy temple only from the outside. They knew the temple from the outside because it was such a gorgeous, attractive, beautiful building. And when the temple was destroyed, those who passed by cried over this terrible loss and sighed to see that such a gorgeous, gorgeous structure went to the ground. But came to the second group, and the second group, the Kohanim, who did the service on the inside. And they said, "You only knew it from the outside, but we knew it from the inside. For we were the ones, the Kohanim and the Levites, who did the service before Almighty God. We brought the sacrifices, we played the music, we did all the services that were needed in the Holy Temple. So we really understand the divine revelation that we saw in this building." And finally comes Almighty God himself and says, "Kindalach, you knew it from the outside, the others knew it from the inside. But the real secret of this building, only I knew." And Almighty God, the Beis Hamikdash, the Holy Temple, the house of Almighty God, the building that Almighty God, the dwelling place of Hashem Yisborach. The Osuni Migdash v'shechanti b'sochem, says Almighty God, that they make for me a sanctuary, and I will rest amongst them, and I will rest in this sanctuary and in the heart of every Jew. And says Almighty God, upon this do I weep. and the prophet Jeremiah in speaking in the name of God, for they were the ones who delivered the prophecy of Almighty God to the people of Israel, comes and says, Alela ni Bochiya. He says, I weep, says Almighty God, through his prophet Jeremiah. Eini Yodamoya, my eye sheds tears, ki rochok bimeni menachem, for there isn't anyone who could console me. I am the only one who really understands the value and the beauty of this building, and all that it meant and all that it stood for. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the message of Tisha B'Av. This is the message of this saddest day of the year. We have to realize and understand the loss that we sustained. And the fact is, it's close to 2,000 years, so we don't stop crying, we don't stop weeping, we don't stop mourning for the Holy Temple. But there are those who know about it only from a distance. They know there was a Holy Temple and there was something very beautiful and this, that, and the other thing. But there are those who were part of it and understand more the value and importance of that building. But then comes Almighty God himself, and he says, my dear children, you don't really know what you lost when you lost the Holy Temple more than I know. And so therefore, we have to do everything within our power to see to it that the people of Israel be gathered in from their dispersed places throughout the world. That there be an ingathering of Klal Yisroel, of the people of Israel, from wherever they are throughout the entire world. The Kaaba Shofar Gadol L'Cheirusenu, Almighty God should sound the big shofar and gather in the people of Israel with Mashiach Tzidkenu and bring us our total and complete redemption and give us the Holy Temple and give us back the holiest of holy, the Beis Hamikdash and the Kodesh Kodeshim, and where we will once again see the Kohanim, the high servant, and his children, the servants of God, do their service before the people of Israel. The intermediary, the liaison, who is between people of Israel and Almighty God, will do what he has to do. The Levites will do what they have to do, and the people of Israel will do what they have to do. Let us hope, dear friends, that this was and will be the last Tisha B'Av, the last day of mourning for the Holy Temple that we will ever have to uphold in the diaspora, that speedily Almighty God will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, will take us out of Golus, will bring us all to our Holy Land, to Jerusalem, where we will see the third Holy Temple, and this should be speedily in our days.